Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Specific Strategies to Maximise Performance in the Current Economic Climate webinar. I'm Jamie Goral from ActionCOACH Business Coaching. I've been helping SME businesses grow since 1999 and as an Action Coach since 2013. We're currently working with 10,000 SME business owners, helping them from all different things relating to financial control, time management, growing sales and lead generation, and also getting the best out of themselves. So today it gives me great pleasure to share with you what we've learned from these 10,000 business owners, to share with you exactly what are specific strategies that will maximise performance. So I'd like to ask you a question. If you can just type in the question box, what do you think amongst SME businesses is the most efficient and cheapest way to grow your profits? Just type some answers in your question box, and when they come in, I'll read them out. So type in your question box what you believe to be the most effective thing to grow profits in your business. Just type in the questions box and I'll call them out. Got a few things coming in now. There's a few people joining, so I'll give everyone a couple of minutes to join. Okay, I'm going to read stuff out. So Mohammed says raising prices. Jack says the same thing, raise the selling prices. Phil is saying set goals and then follow them through. Peter's saying know your numbers. Jack is saying have visibility on your cash flow. Peter's saying review what your competitors are doing and see how you can get that competitive advantage. Anyone else want to add some comments? Okay, there's a few good answers there. So we're going to explore some methods that I've seen and my colleagues Action Coach have seen to really maximize profit growth in a really efficient way. And it stems from this concept from Peter Drucker, who is one of the gurus of management. What gets measured gets managed. So just type in your question boxes. What does that mean to you and how do you apply it? What does get measured, get measured mean? What gets measured, get measured? So Jack's saying, basically, if you're recording things, you make people accountable, then it'll get managed, it'll get looked at and improved. Yes, a great answer, Jack. Claude is saying that you can't measure everything. It's a good point, Claude. But where you can measure it, what do you think that will do? To see if Claude responds to that particular question. Shirley's saying this is a great technique for salespeople, and it's really helped us grow the business. Well, thanks for sharing that, Shirley. I'm sure that will help a lot of people. Any other questions on this particular concept and what it means to you specifically as a business owner? Okay. We'll move on. So what I want to show you now is the concepts I'm about to show you. How has it helped other people? So what I'm about to show you has helped many people, including what you see there. So what measured gets managed is the real concept. So Erwin Boxer, the health practitioner, was 50% up in 3 months using the things I'm about to share in this particular webinar. You see Milechko, bottom on the second row, second from the right. He went from 11 to 28 million in 3 years using what I'm about to show you. And Blind Technique, again, second row, second from the left, 25% up in 6 months. About what to show you. And what I'm about to show you costs you nothing. It costs no money at all. And the Crafty Arts, the on e-commerce business, winning an award in front of 1,000 business owners on the top right-hand corner. They were 40% growth in 1 year. Again, from following the things I'm about to show you. So this is easily replicatable. I'm hoping in this webinar, you can see what we're doing here and you can replicate it yourself to get some good growth. And if you do want a bit of extra help, then we're happy to offer you a free session to help you get a bit more detail and specifically how it applies to you. Ruth just come back saying, get measured, get managed is making staff aware of how their actions affect the overall profit of the company. Thanks for that contribution, Ruth. So you can see that what that shows is going to get results. So let's go through. Firstly, it's about measuring and management. So what is it you should measure? So let's start with the COVID-19 economy essentials. So there's things that you should measure, but there's things that have an absolute added importance in the COVID economy. So just type in your question boxes. What do you think these things are? What is it you absolutely have to measure in the COVID-19 economy to make sure you're all over the really important things to keep your business going as well as possible and stopping nasty surprises? Just type in your question box. What should you be measuring now? And I'll call a few responses out. It's great point from Ruth there about checking that clients are still in business, because obviously this economy is affecting lots of people. Let's see what other people said. So Mohammed is saying cash flow. You really need to be all over cash flow. You need to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the government funding, and also making sure your debt collection is on control. That's a great comprehensive answer, Mohammed. Thank you for that. Sunil's saying just tracking your sales pipeline and make sure that people are moving forward where possible. Great comments, Sunil. Phil is saying there isn't a lot you can measure, not much going on. Okay, Phil, I appreciate your response, but I'd like you just to watch the rest of the webinar and just see if your response is still in that particular area. John is saying literally measure everything as possible, as much as possible. That's a great point, John. And Shirley is saying, what else can you measure apart from cash and sales? Excellent point, Shirley. There'll be a few things in this webinar for you. Okay, so let's go through and actually go through what is it that is the things that you should be measuring. Okay, so the first thing is a cash flow forecast. Now I'm going to send you a link on how to prepare one. But it's really important you know what the bank balance is every week for the next 3 months based on what you know now. Because if there's a problem, you want to know now so you can fix it before it's too late. Loans take time, overdrafts take time, and people that don't have this end up with a big problem, meaning that sometimes they can't pay a key supplier. So especially now when the economy is not doing that great, have to be all over your cash flow. And I've got an example here from someone in the construction industry where what they do here is they're matching the cash receipts to the cash payments and just looking to make sure there's nothing wrong. So you can see there you've got job 1 in the cash receipts column, job 1 line 1 under the cash in heading, and then job 1 is also line 1 in the cash out. So they're just checking, because in construction there's a big cash gap. You'll have to pay your labor first and sometimes pay your materials before you get the money from the client. So you really need to make sure that you're not going to run out of money, even though you might be profitable. And I've seen quite a few people in construction doing that. But when they have a cash flow forecast and get their whole team trained on it, they end up with being in a better place, and they get short-term overdrafts well in advance, so they can grow. And sometimes without doing this, they can't grow because they run out of cash because they've taken on too many jobs, and there's a big gap between them paying their staff and customers paying them. So first one is the cash flow forecast. And again, if you want to email me, if you need a bit more help how to prepare this, how to use it, how to train your staff on it, send me an email to jamie@actioncoach.com and we'll have a free call and I can give you a bit more detail. So the first thing, essential in cash in this economy, is the cash flow forecast. The next thing is debtors management, collecting money. You have to be completely all over collecting money. So I want to just take you through a process of the most effective collecting money. And some of it is a bit obvious, but you'll be surprised at how many people don't do it. Number one, invoice on time. Lots of people don't invoice on time. So what are you doing to make sure your team invoices on time? If they didn't invoice on time, how would you know? Is there an alert you've got? Is there a process that you're checking? Number two, the day after it's due, you put a call into those debtors in a very polite way saying, "Hi, John, we've not received your payment for the invoice. Please let me know when you are able to pay it." So what you're doing is, it's a polite reminder. You're seeing if there's any issues, any problems they've got, and just having a conversation. And you should be getting a payment date. Then, if they're still not paid, you call again on the payment date, and you just, again, politely refer to the conversation. "John, you said you're going to pay on this particular day, not done. Is there any issues? Anything we can help with?" Now, some people, if they're short, you might have to agree on a payment plan. If they owe you 10,000, maybe do 2,500 a month, weekly for 4 weeks. Then they'll feel supported. And then what will happen is, when they'll get money, because you're the person that's taken the time to support them, they'll pay you before they pay everyone else. And then when we're out of this, you've got a stronger customer because you've helped them. Some people just send nasty letters, but you want to give people a chance first. So what this report does here, it tracks debt each week, showing whether the old debt is going down or not. And as you can see here, in the week beginning 30th December 2019, period 3 was owed 6,825. You can see we got that down. By March, it was down to 2,944. So it showed that there was improvements going on. But then as you go into April, the progress was actually reversed, where the old debt was creeping in again. So maybe there's potentially processes not there, or it could have been we just taken on a couple of bad customers. So again, another thing that was highlight is, how good are we vetting customers? How quickly are we giving credit? Do we get a credit safe report on their credit rating before giving people credit? So number one, invoicing properly, chasing properly. Number two, are we checking clients before we take them on to make sure they're credit worthy? Because otherwise we're going to work for nothing. Any questions on debt collection, tracking debtors, or making sure that we're collecting money as quickly as possible and maintaining great relationships with clients, even through the bad times? Any questions on that? David's made a great point here, saying it's worth calling before the due date, in my view, 7 days before, to make sure invoice received and no issues. Yeah, David, good point. If you can do it before the due date to prevent issues, that's a great point. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so any other questions on this before I move on to the next slide? The next thing to look at is sales and marketing activity. Now, obviously in this time, selling is harder for a number of industries. I know that e-commerce is doing well. I know that food is doing well, but other places are having to work twice as hard. So really being all over, where are the inquiries are coming from? If they're coming from a particular place that's doing well, you increase your budgeting in the area. If they're coming from a place that's not doing well, then you need to maybe either tweak or bin that particular thing. So in this chart here, again, this is another construction company. They were getting their business from referrals, repeat business, and Bark, which is a lead generation tool where you actually buy leads. And what was happening here is they were getting lots of very good leads from Bark, and they were, or so they thought, but they were getting leads from Bark. They're getting inquiries that people wanted to get them to quote for. And you can see that they were converting leads into meetings reasonably well. But what else do you notice from this chart? What else do you notice about this particular business and their sales and marketing activity? Getting the leads in, the converting to meetings, but what else is happening here? Just put your comments in the question box. So what do you notice about this particular business and their sales and marketing activity? What can you see needs improving? Yeah, great point. Dave just raised that there's not a very good repeat business. So actually, are they going back to particular clients that they did a good job from last year, and saying, if you had the loss conversion done last year, potentially do you want an extension last year? Very good point there from David. Thank you, David. John is saying that they're setting meetings, but they're actually getting no orders. So are they the worst salespeople in the world? Yeah, great point, David. So they need some work on their sales training. It could be that the leads from Bark aren't very good and they're meeting anyone because they're not doing a good vetting place, or actually they're not coming across well. They probably don't have a good brochure, they're not arriving on time, they're not looking smart, they're not asking questions rather than dictating, they're not really understanding what the person is really wanting. They might not be empathizing with their situation, as in the timing and their budget, etc. So there's a big problem here. This business is burning money, they're buying leads and not converting them, which is a complete disaster. Just want to ask Ruth's point. I've just seen Ruth is talking about on debt collection. What would you do about lost emails to buy additional time? That's a great point, Ruth. So it's all to do with the relationship, Ruth. If your relationship's good, then a client will be honest with you about their situation, even if it's tough. So this particular client, how often do you talk to them outside of just transacting with them an invoice and chasing an invoice? If they've got problems, do they feel comfortable telling you the truth? Because what will happen if someone's got a problem, then and the relationship's not good, they'll just avoid contact. So what is it you can do to increase the relationship to make sure they'll talk to you even in bad times and make them feel that they will be listened to and you will work with them? So great point, Ruth. Thanks for raising that, because that will help lots of people on this call. Any more questions on sales and marketing activity before I go to the next thing we need to measure and manage to move our business forward? Okay, next thing is the sales pipeline. So you saw this business wasn't converting. So one of the first things to look at is actually, let's go through every single client and that's track. Who did we meet? When did we contact them? And why didn't they convert? And what you'll find is, especially if you've got a team of salespeople and one is doing better than others, by analysing how they deal with situations and sharing what the good person does with the worst person, you'll improve the company sales just through that particular process. Another thing you can do is record the sales meetings, obviously with the permission of the person there, and really look at a few things. Number one, how good are the questions of your sales team? Number two, are they listening to what the person's saying and really empathizing with the solution that's working? Number three, if they are comparing you to other people, are they comparing like for like? And number four, have you defined your USP, your unique selling point? So if they are beating your competitors, what is it they like about you better, which they pay a premium for? And again, that's just probably 2 webinars on that subject alone. Bruce just made a good point about the last slide in terms of collecting money, saying if the finance people are separate from the person who's ordered the work, what is it you do? It's a great point, Ruth, and thanks for raising that, because a lot of people will benefit. What you do, sometimes you have to get the person involved who has the relationship to get involved with the collecting of the money as an escalation. So the finance people can do the collecting, but if there's a problem, they need to bring the person in. So the person that is delivering the work or sold the work has to be involved, be made accountable to keep the relationship high enough that people do pay. So thanks for raising a really good point. Any more questions on how to use a sales pipeline to make sure that if you're not converting, you find out the reason? Also sharing what the best salesperson do with the next best person and even the worst person. Anything more about how to use a sales pipeline document to maximize your sales before I move on to the next point? So those are the key things in the COVID economy and outside, but those are absolutely essential for the COVID economy. So if you're only going to look at 3 things, I'd look at only those 3. So now what I'm going to go through is the additional things that you'd look at to just drive your business even further, and especially when we're out of COVID. So the first thing is the 3-year plan. So what you can see here is we've looked at where we are now, and where we're getting our leads from. And then also, if we want to grow, how are we going to grow? So there's two things to look at. Number one, we can grow by adding more leads. As you can see in the current year, we're only getting 144 leads from repeat business reactive. And what I mean by that is that this is order taking. People are ringing you, you're taking an order, and that's all you're doing. And you're a certain level of busy where 778,843 sales based on just order taking. If you want to grow, so what do? You basically have to add more marketing strategies. So what is it we can do? So number one, repeat business proactive. What that basically means is, as opposed to waiting for an order to come in, you have a list of customers you've not heard before and you ring them and you keep in touch. Obvious, I know, but loads of people I meet don't actually do it. Sometimes they feel a bit awkward speaking to someone they've not spoke to for a year, etc., etc. All reasons like that. But if you actually ring and check in with people, show that you care, show that you just want to find out if there's anything that could benefit them that you supply that they might have forgotten about. They might not know about a particular line that you do. If you sell multiple products or services, they might not know. So that's the next thing. Then referrals. If you're speaking to people who are happy, are they referring you? Is there an incentive for them to refer you? Do they know there's an incentive? Do they know how to refer you? Have you helped them with the questions to ask? Because if you've done well by someone, they want their friends to experience the good experience they had as well. They just need a prod now and again. Next thing, LinkedIn, especially in business to business, it's a great way of finding people and starting conversation. Lots of people are very responsive to LinkedIn, more than, say, other forms. So it's a really good place to find people and start a conversation on LinkedIn. And then when the trust is built to a level, you can then move it to the phone or a Zoom call or a face-to-face meeting, maybe in 6 months. Also, telemarketing, again, people say it doesn't work. It works not as good as it did before, but still it can work. It needs multiple attempts and someone really good on the phone. But again, it's a way of breaking the ice. Lumpy mail, this is fantastic. Lumpy mail is a way of sending something bulky in the post and then calling the next day, and people will talk to you because they're curious who sent such a strange item. And that's how many people get sales, especially if you've got customers that are big corporates and you need someone senior. It's a way of getting conversation, and it can take up to 20 attempts to get hold of these people sometimes. And then Google AdWords, very, very effective in certain industries, especially B2C. People are searching for it now. If your landing page looks good enough, you'll get an inquiry. Really, really effective and great data. So you can have more leads. You can also increase the average monthly sale, either by just putting your price up or adding more value for each sale and suggesting more things that people might need. So there's loads of things you can do, but having the visibility of this plan and really thinking about exactly, if I want to grow, how am I going to grow? Is it more leads? And if so, which strategies? Am I going to increase my prices, or am I just going to find a way of being more efficient and getting my gross profit percentage up? Got a great hair share from Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. Something that works is when you make a connection LinkedIn and they're doing an article, you put a comment, great article. So what they're doing is that they feel supported by that person. So when you do try and get a phone call, they're more likely to speak to you because they're very encouraged by your support for their article. So thanks, Ruth, for sharing. That's very valuable. Any more questions on this 3-year plan and how you use it to work out how to grow and make sure it all makes sense? So let's go to the next slide. So on the 3-year plan, you do that at first, but then you break down the first year month by month, because you want to know what you're going to do next month and the year after. You want to know where your leads are coming from, a way of growing it, and again, just really play with the numbers and get your team involved in this as well. Growing is a team event, and the more people you get involved in the decision making on how you're going to grow, the better buy-in you'll get, and the more they perform. Also helps having some sort of hitting target bonus as well for the team. If they're involved in the how-to, it motivates them. Also, the people on the front line often have the best ideas. If you involve them, you'll be using strategies that you might not have known if you hadn't asked them. So it's a win-win-win. Get the team involved in the plan, get their ideas, and then report against it every month. So this is what we planned, this is what we did, this is the reason. Please help us explain that. If you do that every month, you're going to grow a lot faster because the accountability there's, the visibility there, and the ownership is there. People feel ownership. They see what's going on. They see what they're doing as part of a big team. So again, this is the first year by month of the 3-year plan I just showed you before. Any questions on that? Okay, the next thing to do is plan in 90-day cycles. So you just showed the numbers, but then there's the activities to get the numbers. So what we find at Action Coach is 90-day plans work really well. You all sit together and you plan, really reflect on the last quarter, what went well, what didn't go well, and then start planning next quarter. So this is a good planning tool. So the first thing is, if you look at the first line, the first goal is to generate 30 qualified leads. So the reason we've put a number there, 30, is to make sure we've got something to go for. What would happen if you didn't put a number there? If you just put more leads, just type in your question box. If you did more leads, what would happen to the productivity and performance of the team? Thank you, Sunil. If it's just more leads, no one knows where they're going and whether they're going to get there, and they're not motivated. They're not clear what to do. And Ruth just said no goals to work towards. Thank you, Ruth. Great point. So again, so 30 leads. So you put 30 leads as the main goal. And then, as you see, the 3 columns in pink below it is how you get there. So firstly, you've got 30 leads. How are we going to get them? Well, 20 we think from Google AdWords by the stats we've got. 15 from Barks, that's going well, and 5 from Tracker Trade. Now you'll notice that that's more than 30. Why have I got effectively a total of 40 in my subtotals to get 30 leads? Why has I done this? Is it because I'm bad at maths? Brilliant point from Ruth. Some will fall through. So if you've got strategies that add up to 40 and you're going for 30, you covered yourself just in case you've overestimated or one strategy doesn't work or whatever. So yeah, you're covering yourself and making it really, really good. So that's a great point. Okay, any questions on the 90-day plan before we go through other things to track to boost your profits? Okay, so let's go to the next thing. So what I'm going to show you now, we're going to KPI dashboards now. So this is one that was used to help turn a 6 million loss into 1.5 million profit in 6 years at online marketing business I was lucky enough to work with and being part of that journey. I was in every department for 6 months at a time, turning it around, and this dashboard was a key focus. We used it in every meeting. Everyone was really visible on the numbers, and we used it. And I'm going to just show you what we did and how we learned things, and hopefully this will gain and something you can transfer to your business. Okay, so let's just see what this dashboard is. So the first part of the dashboard is on the screen. So what I want you to do, I want you to comment on what you see and tell me what questions you'd have for the team at Online Marketing Limited to help explain why the numbers are as they are. So have a quick look and just start asking some questions in the questions box. Got some comments coming in. Okay, so Sunil saying the gross profit percentage is falling. John is saying the sales are rising, but the gross profit percentage is falling. What's happening there? Janet is saying the sales are going up, but the cold calls are going down. How does that work? Good spot, Janet. More comments coming in. Ruth is saying the sales team are busy but not very productive. It's a good point. Okay, I'm going to tell you what happened in this business. So effectively what happened is we saw the sales were going down and the gross profit. So the sales were going up, gross profit was going down. They brought in some new lines and the sales commission system was on turnover, not gross profit. And these new lines were low margin and easy to sell. So people were just selling them because sales team was linked on turnover. They just went for it. Also, the processes on discounting wasn't watertight. So reps were discounting to get the sale, again, only driven by sales, not gross profit. So again, the sales were going up, gross profit was going down. So looking at these numbers each week and getting further investigation, those are the two things we found. Number one, discounting wasn't watertight. Number two, a sales system a sales commission system on sales is dangerous. It's better to have on gross profit because then the company goals are aligned with the rep goals. And looking at the cold calls, what you can see is that there was less reps in August selling more. And basically, there were some bad reps that they got rid of that ended up boosting the sales because the existing salespeople were more motivated not having those people anymore. What do you notice on here about the value of renewals and the conversion rate on renewals? What do you notice? And this was one of the fundamental problems with this business that was actually causing a 6 billion loss initially that we had to get fixed. So what do you notice? Conversion rate percentage on the renewal of 1-year contracts. Why is that crucial? Susan has come up with a really good answer. So you're saying the conversion rate on renewals is less than 50%. So people aren't renewing this product. That is fundamental. Great point, Susan. Really, really strong. So we had to focus on that. We had to focus what was the issue. And the issue was solved. Just want to take to the next page because obviously what I've shared with you now, it has implications for other parts of the business as well. So what do you notice on this slide? Bear in mind what we just said, the sales were going up, the gross profit is going down due to reps discounting. You've seen that a few reps left and it was better, some of the bad reps. So again, what's the effect on the rest of the business here? Shirley's made a good point on this. The attrition of the sales staff was higher, so we're getting getting rid of the bad reps. And when they were gone, the staff satisfaction in every department went up. So again, these numbers are pointing to something. And once you solve the problem, that's where we end up with that dramatic change from a 6 million loss to 1.5 million profit. Couple of bad reps, couple of bad processes. Look at the customer service. There were less inbound calls, so less problems coming in. Also, people were spending more time on the phone because we were finding that people were incentivized to deal with calls quickly. But what happened was they weren't dealing with them properly and they kept coming back. So we ended up with more dissatisfied customers. So we took away the metric dealing with queries quickly, just looked at the length of calls and the satisfaction rating. So people spending more time on the phone, the number of missed calls went down because there was less volume. And also we got slightly more on top of the email response time, even though 34 hours is still really bad. And as a result, the complaints went down from 10 to 6. So can everyone follow how all these situations are interlinked to one problem? And using this can help highlight what the team isn't telling you. Sometimes they might want to tell you, or sometimes they might be too busy to spot the wood from the trees. So again, that's on the online marketing business KPI dashboard. Now, I strongly recommend you have one in your business. And if you need help getting that, send an email to jamie.goral@actioncoach.com. We'll set up a call and we'll help you with that. Okay, so we've gone through quite a lot there. It's quite a short webinar. Just sharing with you what gets dramatic profit growth. You said you saw one business go from 11 to 28 million sales in 3 years, just from tracking numbers and making everyone accountable across a 300-man business. So what is it you can do in your business using this concept to apply and get some big wins? What I'd like you to do now, in your question box, just type in your top learning from today. What's your top learning? What's the thing you're going to implement tomorrow in your business from what you've got here? Some answers starting to come through. John is saying I need to track more numbers. It's really quite clear that there might be some problems I'm not spitting. Thanks for saying that, John. Phil is saying, if my team, if I'm trying to get them to track numbers, what do I do? Phil, you need to explain the benefits. And what you might find is some people want to hide, in which case it's potentially the wrong people for your business. But if people are good people in your business, they're happy to be visible on what's going on. Also, in the environment, if they are making mistakes, they can learn from them, and then we're better. So if people are resisting it, that's something to be concerned about. Bruce made a good point. To help my staff to understand their own, being proactive and how they can be aware of how sales generated. Great point, Ruth. Let's get more learnings being shared. No, good point. The numbers can create the debate on why the problem is existing. It's factually is a problem. There's no debate. There's debate on how to solve it, rather than people saying it is a problem, not a problem. Great point. Numbers creates facts, so it's less subjective, and you spend the time solving the problem rather than debating whether the problem exists. That's a great point, Susan. Thank you for raising. Another great point here from David. Use a reminder of some of the key aspects. The main point is to remind people to communicate with customers all the time and credit controls regularly. Thanks, Sharon, Dave. That's really good. So what I'd like to do now is, obviously, everyone's in a business where it's bespoke. Your situation is unique. I just wanted to show you a few things that would trigger some thoughts in your mind. If you'd like more help, we can offer you some complimentary calls. Just send an email to jamie.goral@actioncoach.com. We'll get back to you with a time and we'll get you some help, especially in today's economy now. People need more help than ever. We're giving some free time because we really want to help people get over this and then thrive in a few months and just know how to adapt. And there's quite a lot of things we're helping people with at the moment, and we want to extend that offer to you. So send us an email, let us know how you're getting on, and we'll be delighted to speak to you. Just put any final comments there. So Ruth's sharing, she had KPIs for years and the profit went up, got busy, and then got sloppy, numbers went down. Ruth, thanks for sharing that. It's a very good share, and you're not alone. I see it all of the time. I'm glad this webinar is giving you a reminder just to fix that. Just put your final comments in and we'll wrap up. A lot of thank yous coming in. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you on board. Ruth's thanking to a good reminder of the basics. Dave saying thank you, thank you. Also thanks from Shirley, Susan, Janet, Peter, Jack, Mohammed, Sunil, Claude, and Phil. Pleasure. Just email me. Let me know how you're getting on. If you want the free session, great. If you don't want it, just let us know how you get on. It'd be good to know how this helped you in the coming months. So yeah, just keep in touch and to let them reach out if you need some help. Anyway, have a good evening. Take care, and we'll speak soon.